Hello, welcome to Scotty Full Stack, and it has been a while, so I just wanted to say I am sorry for being so long. It's been a couple of months now. I've been working on my house. We went on vacation, which I never do. And so I've got shiplap behind me. I work in my garage. If anybody didn't know, it's really grown on me. This is my space. So with that said, I wanted to jump right back into a new tutorial. This time I found one on application support, and I think this is a great way for new entrants to get into the industry, or if you're just looking to grow your knowledge, or you're in a company already and you want to jump within the company, this is a great leap to take into a more technical role. So that's what I did. I jumped into an application support role, and my boss one day said, "Who wants to do DevOps?" And I said, "Okay." And the rest is history. My career was kind of made for me. So I am very fond of roles like this. And as I grow in more managerial function, I do intend to study more about what I'm about to teach you, because it's really beneficial for a manager of a technical team to understand these principles and functionalities and foundations. So I think this one's a glaring obvious job description, so I wanted to cover that. So let's get right to it. So a quick summary for those of you, this is going to be a long video probably, so I just wanted to give you a rundown of what we're going to be doing. We're going to be using a ticketing software and we're going to build it with Docker and ship it off to a recruiter if we want. We're going to install it, the software. We're going to configure it. We're going to add some definitions of terminology that we need to know in a KB article to be able to show that we can learn information and pass it on to others, because that's what we want to do. We want to pass on information to others. So if you stick around, we're going to cover a technical aspect. We're going to also then cover, hey, how do I write a KB article? Well, I'm not going to teach you how to write a KB article, but we're going to create a KB article with a definition of a key term. So I think it's going to be really good. It's going to be really fun, and you might learn a lot. There will be PHP involved. I am not a PHP guy, but so I might be criticized on some of the stuff I do, but I think that you'll get the point. So let's get started with talking about the job description. Okay, so here is the job description, and I wanted to point out a couple key terms that I see that you might not see, you may or may not, and I just want you to be aware of what's going on here. So the first things first, we're going to look at a second line of technical support. This would be called an L2 role. This is kind of the new bottom of the totem pole of application support, in a sense, in that you are the first responder generally to issues that come up. So here we go, analyzing and troubleshooting user issues. We can define these as kind of like incidents, right? Manage the escalation of problems or requests from the service desk. So this is a role that's involved with ticketing software, and we want to be aware of what escalation means, as well as problems and requests. So problem management, that's a key term here. This can be referred to commonly as a PRB. Ensure key users are appropriately updated on changes or issues. So you might see a change, CHG, or issues back to incidents, but we really want to understand this updated, term. I'm not going to define that here, but this would really fall under, if you wanted to look it up yourself, like a CMDB, where you would be able to auto update key stakeholders of a change. Whenever you create the change and you've set to implement, it'll email out and say this will be downtime at this time. So that's what's important there. Provide excellent customer service. Obviously, we're still dealing with the service desk, so this is a customer service role. Provide excellent customer service. Okay, so implementing improvement projects and initiatives following the delivery framework. Again, this is a key term. Sometimes it's referred to as the SDF. You can look that up. It's not only like this function related, it's all over the place. So delivery framework, look it up. Ensure proactive awareness of change. So proactive awareness, again, we're seeing that awareness of changes and support applications to communicate to the wider team. So again, kind of falls under the email notifications and CMDB. Provide expertise and technical knowledge of support applications. I hope to do that using a software called Hesk. So we want to build out Hesk from the ground up, and we're going to make that a technical project. We're going to show that we can use Docker and we can troubleshoot issues. We can install things on container creation. So we want to do that. We're going to prove that we have the technical ability. And then here we go again. Escalating complex issues. So we have that keyword escalating. The glaring one is at the very bottom, and it's familiarity with ITIL foundations and concepts. So in my case, pursuing managerial work, we have ITIL Foundation V4. So that's what I've been studying, and that's what I'm going to pass on to you. But all of these concepts, I'm not very good at this thing yet, are involved in ITIL. So ITIL defines a lot of these terms in service management is what the key phrase that you want to use in an interview is service management, ITIL and service management. We want to serve our customers. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right into the project. So what we want to do first is jump over to the download link I have in the description, hesk.com download PHP. And so in this one, we're going to be downloading the Hesk free version. So I'm going to download that. And we have a little bit of math here. Shouldn't be a problem. We can download it. All right, so let's go ahead and jump over to our zip that we extracted. And you're going to go ahead and extract this into your root directory project folder. Okay, so I am extracted into my folder. You can see here, this is my Hesk folder. So I have all of these files that I just extracted in. So this is the Hesk application in a sense, ready to go. We just have to add a little bit of finesse to it. So for our use case, really the main files that we need to do are to start out a Docker Compose file, Docker file, and Docker Compose YAML. So let's go ahead and open those two files up. So here, create a Docker file. This one's pretty straightforward. What we're going to be doing here is just using Ubuntu. So from Ubuntu and then Xenial, and you could probably do this much more lightweight with Alpine. I just didn't feel like troubleshooting some of the MySQL stuff with that. So here you can play around with that if you want. It'd probably help you in the long run. But Debian, we're going to set an environment variable for Debian front end. So front end, and this is going to equal non-interactive. And what we're doing here is, as we set up MySQL, we just don't want the MySQL to interact with us back. So creating a user, a secure password, I'm just not going to do it in this tutorial. Should note, I am making root have no password. So that's obviously not a security practice. I would recommend you find a way on your own to just create a new user if you want that's non-root that has a password that you can pass on. It's up to you. This way makes it easier for recruiters, so that's why I'm doing it this way, but it's completely up to you. So worker public HTML, this is just a standard PHP project. And then I want to go ahead and just copy our current directory with all the files to the work directory, and then just finally exposing the port I'm going to run it on, which is just going to be 8,000 in this case. So that's it for our Docker file. Let's head on over to Docker Compose. For this, I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste for the sake of time. I do this pretty often with Docker Compose, so I just want to add that I'm adding TTY true to make this interactive and stay up on build. So we're just going to do TTY true with ports 8000. All right, now, so the thing that I want to really pinpoint here is the volumes. So we're going to add a data volume here. And this is a type of bind. So we're binding from our local to the container. So a bind, and then we're going to do a source, which is going to be, we're going to create a folder called data. And then here we're going to do a destination, target of, and then we can do our working directory. So public _HTML /data. Okay, so we have a source and target, and then the last thing that we need here is to create an entry point, which will install everything after the container is created. So entry point is going to be, we're going to create a scripts slash entrypoint.sh. Okay, so that's all for our Docker Compose and Docker file. Those are both done. You can save them. The next step here would be to create our data directory and our scripts directory. So make dir data and scripts. Okay, so inside of scripts, so we're just going to do code scripts slash entrypoint.sh. Here, I just did a video recently on bash, so if you're not familiar, you can check that out. But we're going to do a bin bash file here and install all of our dependencies. So the first thing we want to do is apt update, and then we want to apt install. And in this case, we have several dependencies that we need to install for this project. So it's going to be PHP, MySQL server, and we can do a -y on there to make that respond to the prompt. And then we can go ahead and start the MySQL service. So service MySQL start. Okay, all right, and then one thing that we want to add here that is specific to Hesk and the way that we're going to set it up for the rest of this project is we're going to create the database, the initial database called Hesk in order to connect that database. So here we're going to do MySQL -user equals root, and again, there's no password here in this case, so we can just execute a command here. So execute create database. Hesk all lowercase there. Okay, so we've created our Hesk database. Execute. Make sure you spell correctly. I'm terrible about this. And then we can go ahead and serve our PHP. So PHP -s 8000. So I'm not using Apache or anything. I'm just going to serve it with PHP. And that's it for our entry point. That's it there for the critical dependencies of project setup. And then finally, we just want to go ahead and chmod +x the entrypoint.sh file. So that makes it executable. And finally, what I want to do is just create a final file called dash.php. And so this one, like I said, we're going to create a dashboard that's pretty easy for a recruiter or a non-technical person to set up this project. All they really need to have is Docker installed. The rest is kind of pretty self-explanatory here, and you can explain it to them in your README of your repo. So this is going to be a PHP file. So we're going to have three functions. We're going to have a remove the installation directory, which is a Hesk requirement function. We're going to have a dump our database function and a restore function. And we're going to include some links that look like buttons where they can click them and everything is done for them. And we'll include a button that'll link back to the admin page to just make it easy after they've done restoring a database. So let's go ahead and start those three functions now. So here in the first function, I just want to, we can name this like remove install. And so in this function, we're going to do a shell exec equals, parentheses. And in here, we're going to just do remove -r install, which is a directory, which you'll see in your home directory, your root directory. That is the installation folder. I guess they want us to remove it for either overwrite issues or security issues. I don't know why. Function dump. And here, this is going to just be dumping our database with a MySQL command. So we're going to have another shell exec. And here, this is the MySQL dump command. Dump -u root, and then the database is Hesk, and we're going to be dumping it to our public HTML data volume, and we can just call this like dump.sql. And then we want to do an and there, and I can wrap this so we're just careful. But here we're going to copy the Hesk settings file that you're going to see in the home directory. It's configured. Again, you know, if this logic doesn't make full sense to you, I think it's totally fine. I set this project up initially and I realized some things that needed to be done. So one of those things is that when we install the project the first time, the Hesk settings file is going to be updated, and all we have to do is copy that file back and forth with the persistent data that we've set there to be able to restore this project for a recruiter. So this file I'm about to copy is that file. It's updated after install. You don't need to worry about it right now, but we do need to copy it. So I'm going to copy HTML / and here, if you just wanted to grab the name of it quickly, you could just list in here, and you have this Hesk settings PHP file, .inc.php file. So we're going to copy that file in the project work directory to our data directory. So public HTML / data. Okay, so we're going to copy it there, and we can close that out. That's that function. Now our final function is the restore function, is what we're going to call that. This is to restore the database, and probably the key function for like a recruiter or somebody. So shell exec, and here we can do these MySQL command line -u root database Hesk, and we're going the other way this time. So we're restoring from public HTML data dump. Data dump .sql. Okay, so we're restoring from that data volume SQL file and to our new database, right? Assuming that they are restoring to a new database. And we want to also just go ahead and take this time to remove the install folder again here, because that'll just help them out. It's one less step they have to worry about. And then finally, and then we want to copy our public HTML /data /settings file. So copy that to the public _HTML directory. So that's pretty much it for our functions. Now we do want to add some if logic in here. And so this if logic is if we were to have, let's just imagine again, those 3 anchors / buttons that you would press, and you'd be navigated to something, or a function would run. We need some values to be passed in the browser that are validated against an if statement, and then they would run a function. So it's just the logic of the PHP. So here what I want to do is just have an if statement, and that's is set, and here we can do a $_get, and this value, we can just set this as like remove install. We can do like rm install. That could be the value that we use here. Now let's go to the end and let's set what we do here, and that's pretty straightforward. We can just do a remove install function call. So we're just going to call that function, and we can now copy this kind of logic here, and we can get else if, and then paste it. Okay, so instead of remove install this time, we can do dump, right? So if we're calling the dump function, that's what we're going to run. Let's close that out. All right, close that out. And then we can do another else if, and we can paste that again. And this time we can do a restore as our value, and we can do restore, right, function call, and then close that final bracket. So that's our if logic. So just you'll see this in a minute play out. If we pass the remove install to it, it'll call remove install. If we pass dump, it'll call dump. If we pass restore, it'll call restore. So that's all we need for the logic. Let's close out this PHP. Okay, and then so I'm gonna actually copy and paste the rest and walk through it. This is on the GitHub, but this is just stuff that you really don't need to understand. I'm gonna remove this because I didn't need that from earlier. This is just the styling, which I'm not going to emphasize here. If you have any questions about it, you can reach out to me in Slack. Otherwise, here's the HTML. We have dump equals true, dump database is the button link. The remove install directory is going to call remove install. The restored database is going to restore the function with the function, and then there's this final admin tag that is going to just redirect us back to the admin URL. So that's really all there is to it. Again, you can pause it and type it out, or you can just copy and paste it just like I did, whichever one is easier to you. All right, and so that's it for our dashboard.php. And what we need to do now is we need to add this as a custom header to the project so that we can access this pretty easily from the main page when we load it. So let's go ahead and open up a header.txt file, which is already in the root directory. And we can go ahead and add 2 lines to that, which again, you can copy and paste if you'd like. I'm going to, which is 2 anchor tags. One with the /install/install.php location, and we're just going to name that install, and then a demo dashboard link that links to our /dash.php file. So that's all we need. And at this point, we can go ahead and Docker build and up in the background our project. So let's go ahead and do that. You can pause your video, and we'll get back to this after it builds. Okay, so it looks like my project is built, so let's go ahead and press enter. We can head on back here, and let's just load localhost. And here we have an install link and a demo dashboard link. So it says it's not installed yet, so we need to install it. So we can always just make it easy, go to the install, right? We can accept the terms and agreements if you agree. And this is all Hesk. The database login was root, and this is that database, or sorry, the Hesk configuration settings file that I was talking about earlier. No password here for root. And we can just make this something easy like admin and like welcome as a password. All right, so we need to delete the install folder now. So let's go ahead and skip directly to settings. It wants us to really remove that install folder. So let's go on back to our root and click demo dashboard. And here's our links that we created, right? So we can remove the install directory and then click admin, and it's going to set us right in. So we just deleted the install. Like if you were to go back to your project here, right, and list, the install folder is, well, in this case, it's still there on my local. So that was kind of silly of me to go back. But this is gone on the Docker container itself. So a little bit of confusion there. But we are ready to go. And what I want to do from this point forward is create some KB articles where you can put in some definitions of some key terms, and you can add whatever information you like. You can make this project whatever you want it to be and define whatever you need to get this one rolling. So let's go ahead and do it. So in this case, we're going to click to knowledge base, and we're going to manage, and we're going to create a new article. And so here, the first one that I wanted to pinpoint, I'm only going to do 2 for you, and I'm going to let you do whatever else you want. But we're going to do escalations. And I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste for this one. And this is on the site in my blog, and it's also going to be likely in the GitHub when I push this. So I should know that what I'm about to paste is not my own words. It's actually from both Hesk and the ITIL ITIL Foundation V4 book. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste this, and we can define what these are. So the key terms here I just want to note on are the escalation, which is the act of sharing awareness of transferring ownership of an issue or work item. The rest is from Hesk here, and they give you a module, which you were to click on module. You could go to escalate. Can't use it here locally. We could use it in the cloud, and you can play around with that. But in this case, it just tells us what you can do with the Hesk escalation module. So that is here, and you can review that on your own. I'm going to save this article. I'm going to add another one for incidents. So incident management, we can call this one. I think it's probably the best defined one. We can go ahead, and I'm going to again copy and paste, but we can talk about what this is. So we have an incident is an unplanned interruption to a service or reduction in the quality of a service as defined by ITIL Foundation V4. And the purpose of incident management practice is to minimize the negative impact of incidents by restoring normal service operation as quickly as possible. By gathering specific information about incidents, organizations can set priorities and improve the service value chain. That's probably a key word you'd want to use in an interview, is not only alongside words like ITIL or escalation or incident management, but the service value chain. Encourage you to look that up. Again, pick up a copy of the ITIL Foundation V4. I'm not an affiliate on Amazon anymore, so there's literally no tie or benefit for me. I'm just telling you what I'm reading and what I encourage you to do as well. Let's go ahead and save this article, and let's call that portion a day. You can add as many of these as you feel fit. I encourage you to do so. So now let's just go ahead and dump our database. So let's go back. Let's click the dump our database from our dashboard. And if we go back to our terminal and I go to the data directory, you can see here we have our Hesk settings file and our dump.sql file, and we can push these up to GitHub. And the next step would be to give them a demo on how to restore. So if that exists in the data folder on your GitHub, then when they pull that project down, they can essentially just do a restore database, and it's going to restore that dump file to their database that they've set up. So I think that is where I'm going to leave you. I would like to see each of you who are doing this project actually write up the instructions for them on your own README and teach them how to install it with the button here at their dashboard that you've made them, and then how to restore the database, and then click admin to navigate back to admin. The dumping is really just for your benefit. It's also to show them that you know how to dump a database, and then you can restore it. So I just thought that was beneficial to add. But I definitely appreciate you watching. If you've watched to the end, bless you. I think that this one could have been boring, but I had fun building this project, and I'm really thankful that you are here. So thank you. I hope that you have a great day and you've enjoyed this project, and look forward to more content as I have finished my housework and I'm ready to go. So I hope you have a great day, a great week wherever you are, and I'm thankful for you. So have a great one.